light you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough.
What's going on, guys? My name is Mike. I'm here with Mike and Tom, and welcome to another episode of Chem Lights and Tracers. Today, we are just going to be talking about, current things that happened this week and stuff like that. This is just a relaxed show. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and take it off with Tom. Do you have anything that happened this week that is interesting?
Trying to figure out how many holes a straw has.
the time troubling answer.
Yes.
Yeah. We also have another one, but unfortunately Rusty's not here today to dive into the story, but I kind of know the gist of it, so we'll go ahead and get into that one. But how many holes does a straw have? That's actually a pretty good question.
2.
You think it's 2?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think it has holes. It has openings.
it's just one
Holes
solid
are
pass
openings.
through.
Huh?
Holes are openings.
Holes are unintentional openings.
Well, then what's Swiss cheese?
Unintentional. You have no control over where they are.
Yeah, so they're holes.
Yes.
So, but you can open it and put stuff through it.
Okay.
So it's an opening. Because you can't put it through the solid part.
But
It's still a hole. So,
But would Swiss cheese be a hole, or is it just a cavitation in the cheese when it's made?
it's still a hole.
It's an air bubble
Yeah.
from the bacteria.
It's still a hole. But the straw thing, so I say it as an opening. But if you get those straws like the cheap straws with the paper wrapper, and how do you open it? Right? You hit on the table or whatever, pack it down.
Yeah.
Well, if you get those cheap straws, they fold over, bend. Then when you go to drink, you're sucking air through it. That is a hole in the straw. The straw has 2 openings, but now it has a hole.
That stuff leaks through.
Right. It's
Or
an
is it-
unintentional opening.
Or is it a portal?
No.
No. Okay.
Nice try.
No. Okay. So it's not a portal. Got it.
But I say it's the video that Rusty sent that kicked all this off was like, okay, compare a straw to a washer. How many holes does a washer have?
Well, one.
One, right?
Yeah.
So what's the difference between a washer and a straw?
The distance between the 2
Points.
openings, the 2 holes.
Right, but at what point does it become
Yeah, but a washer
2?
can be like this big. I've seen washers really big.
The thickness of them?
Mm-hmm.
But
like
again,
heavy
is
machinery.
that 1 or 2?
Well, then there'd be 2 openings.
So at what length does it double the number of openings?
It doesn't, because if it's just a micron thick, it still has 2 openings.
Well, holes. I say they're openings.
Well, and let me ask you this: what's the difference between an opening and a hole?
An opening is intentional. So like your shirt.
Okay.
How many holes does your shirt have? How many holes does your tire have? Your tire shouldn't have any holes.
Hopefully none.
But it has, exactly. But it has openings.
It has a valve.
Well, it has openings to put the rim.
Well, technically, it
To
doesn't.
pull it, to put in and pull out the air.
Well,
No, but like
technically,
to fit on the rim.
technically, a tire doesn't. You don't put a valve in a tire. You put the valve in the rim.
Depends if it's tubeless or not. But anyway,
True, but
either way.
but then the
Is
tube.
it an opening or is it a hole? Is it an opening for the rim? So I still say that a hole is unintentional. An opening is intentional.
Well, how would they measure it though? Like, do they say, oh, what's the size of your hole in the tire?
No, so what's the size of the rim? What size rim does it take?
And that would be the
opening
okay
for
so
the
it's
rim.
an opening.
It's an opening. So a
it's
straw
not a hole.
has 2 openings.
So if you get into a defensive shooting, and you unfortunately you have to use your weapon and you have to put a hole in somebody,
Exactly.
Is
It
that-
is a hole.
but you're intentionally putting a hole or an opening into somebody to stop a threat. Are you not?
Would you say that if flip the tables, someone shoots you, do you have a hole or do you have an opening?
Well,
Do they say pack the opening or do they say pack the hole?
they say pack the wound, but I
Well,
mean,
still.
yeah. But let's say that the round passes through. Would that just be an opening?
So for you, getting hit, it's a hole. For the person shooting you, it's an opening because they meant to put it there. You have an unintentional hole. They provided you with a new opening.
I could see that then.
So the other argument someone put in the video is if the argument in the straw is that it's one hole because it's continuous, right? What about your mouth and your butthole?
Well, that would just be a.
It's continuous.
That's an entrance and an exit. Depending on
So
what,
does the straw have an
depending
entrance
on
and an
what,
exit?
depending on what,
So you can look at that
You
with
know.
the straw too.
depending on what
It's
pronouns
too
you use.
What pronouns you use?
I'm trying to say it nicely there.
So it's still
if-
two openings.
So if you're considering a straw having an
So think of it like a crazy straw.
yeah, okay, but does that mean that if your body, right, you have a mouth which is an opening and you have a butthole which is an exit, right?
It's the other opening.
Okay, but does that mean that I was going somewhere with this and then I forgot? Does that mean that a straw has
An
an
entrance,
entrance
and
and an exit?
Well, so if you get one of those crazy straws, it's kind of like your intestines. It snakes around,
Mm-hmm.
goes all there. You're not going to put the wrong side into the cup.
It's 2025. It's bold of you to assume that. I mean, there are people that put,
This isn't South
whatever
Park.
your prerogative is.
This
you know?
isn't South Park. You can't put food up one side and like throw up shit.
Okay, but if you let's for a second take away the crazy straw factor.
Okay.
And you just have a regular straw. Mm-hmm. If I put it into a cup and I bring fluid up one way, that would be the bottom of the straw would be the entrance, and then the top of the straw would be the exit.
Right.
What if I take that straw out and then flip it upside down? Does that
Then it's
automatically?
2025. It doesn't.
It doesn't matter.
don't assume it's.
But if you take the straw and
did
you
you
flip
just
it upside
assume
down,
the use of its opening?
no. But if you take a straw and you turn it upside down, does that change
No.
the bottom, or are you now bringing in fluid from the exit and going up through?
It's trans. It just goes the other way now.
It just goes the other way. Okay, got it.
Before we begin, let's watch the video.
How many holes does a straw have?
One. Yeah, it's one.
I don't have a good argument for it being two, but I want it to be two.
You want it to be two, you just can't.
But why is it one?
I don't know.
Your answer is no better than mine.
So if you all right, so take a washer, like a round washer. Is there one hole or two holes?
There's one hole.
So what's the difference between that and a straw to dictate?
At a certain point, the depth
That's what she said.
makes a difference.
And what is that point?
Somewhere in here.
So you're saying if it's all connected,
No, I mean,
So-
it's
so the-
probably only one hole.
So
but
just imagine this though.
is your mouth and your asshole the same hole? He has a point. He does.
but you can block one end of a straw.
You can
Still
block-
put something into the straw.
You can do the same thing with the washer. And a butthole.
This is not going well.
Jeremy's gonna have his hands full editing.
Oh, I'm not editing that.
Okay, so what's next topic? Because I'm lost
Okay,
with the holes.
So he had another one, or Rusty has another one. He got into
I think Rusty needs to be here for this one.
yeah. I mean,
Well,
he
let's call
does,
him.
but I mean, we could. Well, we're not set up to call him, but
Do it real quick.
I mean, I guess I could.
I mean, you just got to hold the.
I don't know where the box is, but
Oh well.
yeah. Anyway, so he got into a debate with his wife. His wife asked him to clean up some laundry soap that had fallen on the floor. And she's going to comment on this. I know.
Okay, before we get too far, is it possible to record Rusty and then have him explain it?
I could
and then we
record
could just dive
Rusty and
into
then
it?
yeah. So we'll go ahead and do that, and then I mean we need to have. him
But
here,
we can still discuss the topic.
yeah. So okay. So the discussion that they had was that some laundry soap had gotten on the floor, and she asked Rusty to clean it up. So he went and he got a shirt, and he wiped up the laundry soap and then threw it in the washer.
Yeah.
And she said, you can't do that because the soap is dirty because it was on the floor. So if soap is on the floor, is the soap dirty or is the floor clean?
Yes. And I say yes for if your shirt is dirty and you throw it into the wash with soap, the shirt becomes clean.
Yeah. But her argument was
Well-
you can't do that because the soap was on the floor. So now the soap is dirty.
No,
But the
you're
shirt
just-
wasn't clean if it needs to go in the wash machine. Or
Right.
did he use a clean shirt? Because if you clean up the laundry detergent, now was it liquid or powder?
I believe it was liquid. is
Okay,
what-
so if you
But it doesn't matter. Whatever you wiped up off the floor, say
Mm-hmm.
he used a shop towel, right? A used shop towel.
Mm-hmm.
He throws it in the wash. What's the difference between putting it in the wash and then adding the soap?
that's his whole point.
yeah, but you
Exactly.
you didn't need to add soap because it already has soap. And
Well, no,
then
you wouldn't add
it's
soap
just
again.
constant. Yeah,
If he
yeah,
didn't,
exactly.
if there wasn't a spill and he just grabbed a shop towel, a used shop towel, said, "Oh, I'm going to wash it with this load of whatever,"
Yeah.
and then add soap, right? Nothing is spilled yet. He just, hey, I need to wash this too. And you add soap. The cloth becomes clean. The soap,
Becomes
gets-
dirty.
but then it all gets rinsed away.
Okay. But
So there's no
this
difference
is-
between wiping the soap off the floor
There's not.
and throwing it all in the wash.
But there's not. I mean, there's no.
No, we agree with Rusty.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry, Leanne. I mean, yeah, his whole thing was, okay, there's soap on the floor. I'm going to take this dirty shirt. I'm going to wipe up the soap off the floor. And now I'm going to throw it in the wash. Now I don't need to add more soap because there's already plenty of soap on
Right.
on the shirt. But she says you can't pick up the soap that was on the floor, whether the shirt's dirty or clean or not, whatever. But she said that you can't do that because now the soap is dirty because it was on the floor. So is the soap dirty because it was on the floor, or is the floor now clean because he used the shirt to wipe it up and now there's no more soap on the floor?
Well, the floor's
It's
clean.
both. The floor is
Right.
clean and the soap
But
is
the
dirty, but the soap is doing its job.
But now
Exactly.
the shirt is now dirty because now you put laundry detergent. It's not like, okay, can you put it on after you wiped up that laundry
Well,
detergent?
no, because
anymore.
I'm assuming he used a dirty shirt to pick it up and then he was just going to throw it
But
in the
even
wash
if
anyway.
he did, if he even used a clean shirt to wipe it up, now the shirt is dirty.
Yeah.
So you can't wear it because there's laundry soap on it.
Yeah.
So you have to.
But
put
the
it-
whole the
But I'm
whole
saying you have to put it into the wash
yes,
machine.
I agree. But the whole parameter of the whole story was that Leanne said that you can't use the soap that you wiped up off the floor because the soap is now dirty.
Yeah, and then now the floor is clean.
Now the floor is clean, but it doesn't matter because the soap's job is to clean.
right.
Right.
Soap is going
So-
to get dirty.
So
No matter what. Even if you put the dirty clothes in and you add clean soap to the washer,
yeah,
as soon as it gets in there with the clothes, the soap is now dirty.
yeah.
But
But the
it's still-
soap's job is to clean the clothes.
Exactly.
So the whole argument was you're putting dirty soap in the wash, but the soap was clean to begin with. You just wiped it up off the floor, put it into the washer, and now the soap is doing its job by cleaning the clothes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you heard it here, Leanne. I mean, I'm sorry, but the soap is not dirty. It gets
The
dirty
shirt
when
is.
it gets dirty when it's put in the wash and it's cleaning the clothes.
Yeah, so technically it would just be the shirt that's dirty.
Yeah.
Because now the floor's clean, and then now the shirt needs to be cleaned. So
So, yeah.
And
now I
technically,
can see if you dropped a tortilla on the floor, now the floor is dirty and so
and
is
the
the
tortilla
tortilla.
is dirty. Yeah, I get that.
I mean, unless you do the 5 second rule.
You guys do 5 seconds?
I don't know. I heard if you put it in the microwave for 30 seconds, it'll kill everything.
Yeah, it kills everything. It kills all the bacteria in
It
there.
depends on what fell. I mean, if it's an egg, the 5 seconds gets extended a little bit because that shit's expensive.
Yeah.
But
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Cost
Price
of
of
inflation,
eggs.
you have to add the inflated time to the 5-second rule.
exactly.
Right. Inflation goes up, the time on the floor goes up.
Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so that was a heated debate between them, and
So-
I just find it hilarious.
In the same realm of that, the soap being dirty or not. You get in the shower, you shower, clean yourself, thoroughly, hopefully. And you get out and you dry yourself off with the towel. Shouldn't the towel be like the cleanest linen that you have?
You would think so, but it's not.
But why do you need to wash it if you're just drying off your wash body?
Yeah, because, well, even though you just washed your body and stuff, when you get out of the shower, you still have oils and dead skin cells and everything else. And
But you shouldn't. You just washed all
There's
that
actually
off.
an experiment on YouTube that people washed regular, but they didn't wash their legs.
That's a guy shower. Because
Well, that's when you get that two-sided towel, the one that says head and butt. I
Yeah.
mean, that's...
Yeah,
But no,
one
that-
says face and one says ass.
There you go.
The experiment was, because a lot of people don't wash their legs, Well, I mean, women do because they got to shave with soap and
Yeah.
whatever. But normally guys don't clean their legs, and a lot of people say, "Oh, that's nasty." But they did an experiment where they had people take a full shower like they normally do without doing their legs, and then they had people taking a shower, cleaning and scrubbing their legs, and then they came out of the shower, and then after they dried off, well, not after they dried off, but after they came out of the shower without touching a towel or anything else, they swiped everybody's leg. The people that didn't wash their legs had less bacteria growth than the people that actually washed their legs. With the
It's
soap.
because you go from top down. So the reason why the people that wash their legs had more bacteria is because the ass comes before the legs. And instead of washing it, they just smeared it.
Well, my thing is that if they wash the rest of their body, I mean, it just depends on it. So say like they use the liquid soap and they use the little foamer and stuff to wash their body and then wash their legs. Well, you're moving that dirt around down to your legs, and then everything gets rinsed off.
So it should be gone.
Yeah, but it wasn't. But the people that didn't wash their legs, they had less bacteria.
I wonder why that is. I don't know. That's weird. Because you would think that using soap and a loofah and stuff like that and washing your legs, you're pushing soap down.
Well, even if you just wash the top, it's all going to just run down anyway. So it's still just...
So are you one of these people that just like stop at the waist and
No.
and soap will, water's pushing it down, soap will get down there.
I mean, soap's going to get down there, but still, no.
Now I got to use the loofah and I got to go from like head to toe and everything like that. So
You don't go the other way.
No.
well, no,
Generally, no. You don't want to be washing your hair with, butt crack juice on it.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that I think that's interesting, and I think it's interesting that they actually did studies on it, and I think when the proof is there, do you change things?
No.
I don't know, last time unless I have to, no, the water ran down the soap. Because I heard the more you wash your skin and stuff, the more oils you take off. And oils are good for our skin so it doesn't dry out.
No, I use a moisturizer after.
Well, I put lotion on.
It puts the lotion on it.
I put the
Gets
lotion
the
on.
hose again. Yeah, I use that Dove moisturizer or whatever. Yeah, I use that. So, especially like around my face and stuff. So, yeah. But okay,
How about your trip?
I had a good trip. I went to Disneyland, and I haven't been to Disneyland. I've been to Disney World a couple of times, and that park is just massive.
So what's
But
better, Disney World or Disneyland?
It depends. If you've got like 4 or 5 days, Disney World, because you can break it down into different. You can break down each day into different parks. But Disneyland is one park, and then you have California Adventure, which is another park, and it's just right across from each other. So I was able to do Disneyland in a day, and I think it's a much easier park to get through.
You ride all the rides.
I rode probably 90% of the rides.
I
and
told
it
him
was
to
lot of
take a
fun.
video of him riding the teacups. And
Yeah, I was gonna do a video inside the teacups and
with
like
the Mickey Mouse ears.
with the Mickey Mouse ears and a churro and stuff
you
like
need
that.
to do it on It's a Small World.
The Small World ride was down, so a lot of the rides were actually down for refurbishment. So like the Indiana Jones ride was down. That's a Small World was down, and I think like 2 or 3 others. But I did do the what is it? Is it the Matterhorn? No. It's the one where you're like in a bobsled and you like go down a mountain and stuff like that. That one was pretty cool. I did that. And the nice thing is that even though Disneyland is just one park, they have everything separated into like little sections. So they had like Cars Land, and it looks like you're like in the movie Cars. Yeah. I had lunch at Flo's Diner, and I had like it was some kind of chicken club sandwich, and it was really good.
Did you talk to Mel or Flo?
No,
Did they say
weren't
kiss
running
my
around.
grits?
No, they weren't running around. So, but
Driving?
yeah, they
Well, I
weren't
guess
driving
for
around.
them it is running.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. So my only question is do they need car insurance or life insurance
For what?
if they're
To
cars?
exist.
If they're cars, do they need car
Are
insurance?
you talking about the Cars movie?
Yeah. Like, do they need car insurance or do they need life insurance? That was the question I had. So, but yeah, and then they had like Galaxy's Edge off in its own little corner, and then they had like Toontown in another little corner and stuff like that, and it was really neat.
Toontown, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Toontown.
Yeah, they actually have like
Yeah.
a Roger Rabbit ride and stuff. It was really neat. It was really cool.
Did you get the revolver for a souvenir?
No, I wanted to. Yeah, I was looking at the gift shop for it. I wanted the
That's-
revolver with like the little bullets and stuff.
That's
Yeah.
one that I've always said I want in my collection.
Yeah.
But like
I
a
think
I
decent
have to get
one.
someone to 3D print that.
Right.
But it needs to be like a decent one, not just
Well, then you just have to get the case, like a wooden case, and then with the red felt,
Yeah.
and then just do the 3D printed bullets, and then the 3D printed gun. It'll look, if you paint it just right, it'll look like the same thing because it was a cartoon gun anyways.
Yeah, it was like but I would picture it more of like a heavy rubber. The certain heavy rubbers would give it that
And that kind of looked to it.
that look.
Yeah. So, but yeah, they had. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it was Roger Rabbit's ride and stuff like that, and it was really neat. I'm a big Star Wars fan, so yeah, whatever. Okay. I got a new lightsaber hilt while I was there. I was looking for a certain one, but they didn't have it, so I went with the prequel one. So
Just the hilt.
yeah, because I built one last year before last, and I did like the build your own lightsaber deal, and that was really cool. They give you like the whole story behind the lore and everything like that, and then you get a bunch of pieces and you get to put it together, and you pick your own kyber crystal and everything like that. It was really neat, and it comes with a blade. And the nice thing about the Disney lightsabers is one blade works in all of their lightsabers. So I already have a blade; I don't need it. So the one I really wanted was the Anakin Skywalker Episode 3, aka the Child Slayer 3000. But they didn't have that one. So I went with Anakin Skywalker's Episode 2, which was the first lightsaber that he got, or that he had built. So I got that one, and they had new events coming out because it's the
Did they have the Dark Maul?
They did have a
Did it
Darth Maul
separate and
one.
everything?
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty dope. And they had a bunch of different ones. They had Ahsoka Tano's dual lightsabers. They had Darth Maul's. They had Darth Vader. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Qui-Gon Jinn, like all those. So I thought it was pretty neat. And the one I ended up going with was the episode 2 one. So, but they had new events coming out. It's I think it's called the Season of the Force, and they introduced a new character. Because if you look on like Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that, they have like Kylo Ren walking around with stormtroopers and stuff like that, and they stop people and talk to them, ask them questions and stuff like that. And you'll see like Chewie walking around, you'll see Rey walking around, stuff like that.
You didn't ask Kylo Ren, hey, how'd your dad?
The new character that they introduced to the park is Luke Skywalker. So Luke Skywalker is going to be walking around and stuff like that, and like
Old
interacting
Luke,
with,
young Luke,
young Luke, yeah.
Force Luke,
Yeah. So
Does it look like Luke or no?
he kind of does a little bit. Yeah.
like the bad CGI version of him.
No,
The Wish.com one?
yeah, it's kind of like the Wish one. So he kind of looks a little like Luke, but not really. So, but they also did a like a projection show and stuff. So that was pretty neat.
Force Ghosts.
I also saw in Disney World they have a drone show, but in Disneyland they have like a water show. So it's kind of like the Bellagio water fountains, and they put like a mist, like a fan mist, in the water park, and they have projections going onto the water, and they have different things. They have like they have scenes from like Encanto on there. They have scenes from like Cars, Wall-E, Little Mermaid. They had a couple of scenes from like Star Wars on it and stuff like that. And that was a really cool show. I actually got right up close to the fencing, so I was like right next to the water jets and everything like that. And I got a little bit of a tan because they actually do have fire with that show. And it got really warm really fast. So it was really neat. But yeah, if you want to do a small park in like a day, maybe a day and a half, if you really want to see everything, Disneyland is the way to go. But if you go to Disney World, I mean, they've got like 4 or 5 parks.
Didn't you go to see what was that other place you went to?
California Adventure,
Wow.
and that's where they have like the Marvel and stuff like that, and that was really cool. I got pictures with like Captain America. Doesn't look anything like him. Captain America.
Which one? There's 2 now.
Yeah, there's 2 now. But it was the original Captain America.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then they had what's his name? The guy who's Captain America now.
Falcon.
Yeah, Falcon. He's got a name. I can't remember his
Sam.
name. Sam, that's it. They had Sam walking around. They had Black Widow walking around.
Did you
They
go
had
past
Loki.
them and be like, on your left?
Yeah, I should have. Yeah. But if you have a like a Disney Visa card, you get like private meet and greets with them and stuff like that. So I have a Disney Visa card. Shut up. So I got to do like one-on-one meet and greets with them and
Who'd
stuff
you
like
meet
that. Captain America, Loki, Black Panther, and who else? Ant-Man and the Wasp. So I got pictures with all of them.
Not the Black Widow.
No, I didn't get a chance to like take pictures with the Black Widow and stuff like that. But yeah, it was pretty cool. And then they had a like a Black Panther show. So they have like
I'll just kind of.
yeah, well, it was like whatever,
Wakanda forever.
Yeah. So they had like a show, and they have the like the Avengers headquarters, and Black Panther comes out like on the balcony of it and stuff, and like they have the like his guards or whatever, but it's all the women and stuff. So they had them come out and they did like a show, and they like interact with the kids and stuff like that. So it was really neat.
Were they all bald too? The bald ones, right?
Yeah, it was the bald ladies, but they had like headdresses on, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they weren't actually bald, but like they had headdresses, so you just assume that they are. But yeah, that was at California Adventure, and California Adventure is like a 1 day deal in its own.
Didn't you say you sat on some couches?
Yeah, I also did a WB tour and the WB studio tour and the Disney studio tour. And I got to see all the like the way they did what is it, Snow White, and they
The new
make
one?
no, the old one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was
Snow
about to say
White.
That one's a wreck.
Oh, the stills.
Snow, yeah, like all the stills,
still slides.
and they do like Snow White and like the Seven Dwarfs on like a clear piece of paper, and then they just put it over the scene and everything. But what a lot of people don't know is that Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was what really put Disney on the map. And
And that was like the first hand-drawn, full-length
yeah,
feature film.
and then I also found out that that all of the painting for that movie
The cells?
was the cells, they were all done by women.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty neat. I was like, whoa, that's pretty cool. So they would do all the painting and everything like that. So they'd do like a rough drawing of like how the scene goes, and then they move that to another person, and then they kind of like clean it up. And I think they were called cleaners, and they would clean it up and make all the edges all nice and everything
No
like
wonder it
that.
was all women.
And then, actually, that wasn't done by women.
Oh, they
And
were
then
cleaners.
And then those would get moved over to the women, and then they would go in and they would put all the paint and everything like that. And then they use a camera, and each cell was on a different level. And so if they wanted like the trees to pop out, that would be like on a cell closer up towards the camera.
Yeah, the
and then, like,
characters were going like behind the tree.
yeah, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I saw all that stuff, and I never really thought about it, but like seeing the process of it was really neat. I was like, whoa, this is really cool. So that was at the Disney studios and stuff like that, and they had the was that a yeah, I think that was at Disney, but I saw the Lucasfilms section and everything like that, but we weren't allowed to take pictures and stuff. So I was like, oh man, that kind of sucks. But yeah,
What
so
was
that
in
was,
there?
we didn't get to go in there. Yeah, because they're working on a new
Speaking
project.
of Lucasfilms, I just found out that E.T. is a Jedi. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, and episode 1.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when Palpatine's addressing the
Senate and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like you could see.
yeah, E.T.'s in there.
Yeah,
Because
that's right.
He lifts Elliot with the bikes on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
When they're riding the bikes, he can make that flower grow or whatever.
Yeah, so he has force powers and everything. Midichlorians running through him. So.
Um,
So he's a Jedi.
His finger's a lightsaber.
So that was
He's
at
Yoda's
the
cousin.
that was at the he's Yoda's cousin. So
Would it be a distant cousin from a distant galaxy?
the reason why I like
Well, they
Star
were
Wars,
actually in Star Wars.
Hey, and then
You know
like,
that, right?
yeah, I
Yeah,
think when
and then
they
the Star
like,
Wars
if,
scene.
if you look inside their spaceship, wasn't it supposed to be like moss and like a swampy area, like Yoda? That's how I always pictured it.
like from the Dagobah system.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I did that tour and everything like that, and then right down the road is the WB studio, and that's where they shoot. Like they were shooting, I think it was ER with George Clooney, and I actually saw George Clooney's parking space, which is really neat. There's a show called Abbott Elementary. And they were actually shooting an episode while I was there riding around and stuff like that. So I got to see that. I got to see the sets for like a bunch of different movies, and that was really neat. We went into
Did you see the downtown that they used for Gremlins and the Back to the Future?
yeah, all of that stuff. Yeah. Oh man, what movie is it? It's with Jude Law, and they're like a bunch of robots and stuff like that.
Oh,
Is it AI or something like that?
yeah, that's AI.
Yeah. So we actually got to see like the street where he comes dancing up and everything like that. We got to see all that. That was really neat. we got to see the set for Friends. Well, where we went to the studio where Friends was shot, but the set's not there anymore. We also got to see what else?
Didn't you sit on the couch though?
Yeah, they repurposed the set for the it's like a smaller tour, and they have like 90% of the set from Friends, and they have the actual couch there and everything like that. So that was pretty neat. They had the door set for The Big Bang Theory, so that was pretty neat too. So I got to sit in Sheldon's spot. That was pretty awesome. Yeah. So
Oh, I didn't make you smarter.
no. Wait, what? Shut up.
Bazinga.
So, but yeah, I thought it was really neat, and did the Walk of Fame. So I got to see all the stars on the street. I took pictures of like Chuck Norris's star, Bruce Willis. I went to the Chinese theater where they do.
You didn't do the map of the celebrities tour?
No, but we did. We did see the Hollywood sign. And that was pretty neat.
Planetarium.
The planetarium. I went there.
Did you
That
go
was
inside it?
Yeah, and I saw the Water is Life show, I think it's called. And
Did you go to
that's
the
pretty neat.
tar pits?
No, no. But
I want to see that.
the tour that I took went up to the Hollywood sign, and then it kind of cruised around through LA and everything like that. And I actually saw where the whole sting for the whole PDD situation went down and everything. They still had like the tape up on the doors and stuff.
Was the
And like
road,
no
like,
trespass notices and stuff.
Was the road like real slick? From
It
all the
was
baby
real
oil?
slick from like all the 55-gallon drums of baby oil and stuff. Yeah, I thought that was kind of crazy. So, I got to see all that stuff. Like I saw like $80 million houses. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ, man, $80 million for a house? No.
I know, but they were kind of small too.
They were pretty decent size.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably like maybe twice the size of my mom's house, my mom's new house. 2 to 3 times that size. But for $80 million, I mean, all you're really buying is the zip code.
Yeah.
You know?
Basically. You know, I think when I was younger, we stopped in Dallas to see my aunt, and she took us out to the set or the house they used for the show Dallas, the old '80s sitcom, whatever. And I remember that house being real big and everything else, but when we went there, it was like a small little house. It was nothing.
Yeah.
You know, it was kind of weird, like how in the show it'd be all real big and a bunch of rooms and mansions, and then when you go there, it's, you know, a small little house.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Did you go down to Rodeo Street?
We went down Rodeo Drive and stuff. That was pretty cool. I went to the Beverly Hills sign. I also went to, I guess it's City Hall, but it's the police station from Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, yeah.
When they're taking him out of the cop car, and he's like, "This place is really nice."
This is nice.
Like I stood in front of that and everything like that. I took pictures there. That was really neat.
Did you see any celebrities?
Unfortunately, no. But I kept my eyes peeled. I was looking for them and everything. I was like, man, where are like they got to be out somewhere.
Go to the grocery store.
And the tour guide, he was all like, yeah, just
Probably
keep
the
your eye out.
unemployment line.
You know, he's all like, yeah, go ahead and just keep your eyes out because you'll see them every once in a while. I saw Jennifer Aniston in here the other day, and this is like her favorite restaurant as we're like driving down the street. And I'm just like, I'm like a typical tourist. I'm with my phone. I'm like, ooh, taking pictures and stuff. And I mean, it was a really cool place to see. And you see like Bugattis and Ferraris, and, you know, I saw like a couple of Rolls Royces and stuff like that. And
Did you start any
know-
riots?
I didn't start any riots. No.
Did you
No,
start any
he didn't-
fires?
No, no. I did see the devastation from the fires. That happened in Malibu. Because I spent
so
the day. I spent the day in. Man, it's not Long Beach. It's one of those piers. It starts with a P. Damn, I forgot the name of it. But I
Pacific
stayed
Palisades.
something like that. There's a pier there, and it's got a big Ferris wheel on it and stuff like that. I can't remember what it's called. But
It's California. I have no idea.
yeah, you know, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's California and this and that, blah blah blah." It's a nice place to visit, but I sure as hell wouldn't live there. No, I mean the scenery is beautiful, the houses are beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the women walking down the street, that they are women. You know, like
It's all plastic.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of the people there were actually kind of nice and everything. I don't agree with the governing that happens.
Hold on. What'd you say about box of chocolates?
Oh,
That was funny.
Yeah,
I'll screenshot that one.
so the women in California, it's like a box of chocolates. Some of them have nuts.
yeah. So I
That
think
was funny.
I think the only thing I saw like that was really out of pocket, and I'm cool with that lifestyle. If that's what you want to do, you know, you do you. You know, but I saw. I guess he was a cowboy, but he was wearing like capris with Crocs, and he had makeup on and stuff like that, and like a big beard and everything. And I was just like, okay, you
So
know,
you saw an
but if it
actor.
makes- he kind of like, kind of
May
like
not be a famous actor, but
Think-
definitely acting.
think of like Johnny Depp, but a little bit shorter, and a beard and makeup.
Hey, I
Like,
saw
that's what he
that-
kind of looked like.
I
And was
saw
just
that
like,
guy
okay.
in New York City, that cowboy in the underwear and plays the guitar.
Yeah.
The singing cowboy, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see one thing that I didn't agree with, and this goes back to the Star Wars thing and nerd whatever, but it was a dude wearing it was the all black Death Trooper armor, so it was like the Stormtrooper armor, wearing a Darth Vader helmet. And I was like, those are two totally different things. That was the only gripe I had, but that goes
Was
back
that
to
at
the
Disney?
nerd side. No, that was on right in front of the Chinese theater.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I was like, okay, you know, it's your lifestyle. It's whatever you want to do. You,
Well,
go
you
ahead
know,
and do
people
it.
need to work and like just put
Yeah.
stuff together. Hey,
Yeah,
extra.
and I
Nice.
think that's what he thought. And he was just like, oh, nobody will notice the difference. And I was just
Mm-hmm.
like, that's out of place.
Right.
You know, it was kind of like that scene from what is it, Ted 2? You two wouldn't even be walking together. He's your boss, and you guys are enemies. You know, it was kind of like one of those moments. So, but I did see the fires that happened in Malibu. I went to the Malibu Pier, and the sunsets there are amazing. But they had the National Guard there. They had the road cut off. You couldn't drive down it unless you were a resident there or like buses and stuff like that. So I
Paid
got
for
on
the
the bus. Well, I got on the bus and it was like $4 for the whole day. So it would take me up and down and everywhere. So, but I saw
Something's
the
cheap in California.
I saw right. But I did see the devastation from the fire and everything like that, and you know, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for it, but I don't feel bad for a lot of the people there because a lot of the people there are young. They still got money. The insurance is going to cover it. You know, this, that, whatever. What I felt really bad for was like the older people, the people that were like, oh, like, you know, I worked, 40 years and I'm going to buy a house in Malibu and I'm going to retire. And
Well, it's not just their house, but their belongings and all their memories and
Yeah,
everything.
all
else.
their
again,
memories and-
insurance is going to cover it.
Yeah, but the insurance isn't going to cover
Memories.
the
senti-
memories
Well,
and
you
the
have
sentimental
you have the
stuff
I
and
mean,
stuff like
it's
that.
sentimental. I mean, you have the
Yeah.
memories from it. So
Yeah, but I mean, like, people put their whole life into one house in Malibu and a fire tore through there and just destroyed it all. Like, those are the people I feel sorry for. Like, the elderly people.
no,
And-
it's just things.
Yeah, it's still things, but like my uncle, he bought a cabin up in Rio Doso, and that was going to be his retirement and everything. And he had like nice works of art, and he had like, I don't know if he had family heirlooms, but he had sentimental things. And the fires broke out in Rio Doso, and now his cabin is just a hole in the ground with a
Chilling.
fireplace, and that's it.
Yeah,
And
so that's
I-
my
like-
cousins.
Like his entire retirement is gone. I mean, yeah, granted the
It's-
insurance is going to pay for it. Okay, yeah, but that's not the point. Is that the point is that he had all of his his priceless possessions in there.
No.
You know, I mean, think about your priceless possession, and then all of a sudden it's just gone in a fire. You know, yeah, cool. Insurance is going to pay for your house and your car and all that kind of stuff, but you know, your priceless possessions, your family heirlooms and stuff like that, all gone.
So that's why all my stuff is worthless, not priceless. But that's just me.
Think about all your guns, and they're all gone in a fire.
I know, and I get new shiny ones.
Right?
Upgrade.
But when I was driving down the, it's the road that what's his name, Jay Leno drives down in his shows and stuff, the Pacific Coast Highway or whatever. There were houses that were like right along the beachfront, and now all they are is just
Empty shells.
burnt, twisted metal. Like the house isn't even there anymore. It's just like some metal framing and like chimneys and stuff like that. And I honestly did feel really bad for some of the people. A lot of the people there, they're young YouTubers and TikTokers and stuff like that.
People that have
You know,
never worked.
Yeah, people that have never really worked. They're internet famous or whatever. It's like, dude, you can buy all new stuff. But my heart goes out to the people that are like in their 70s and 80s, and they're like, you know what, all I want to do, this is my dream. I want to buy a house in Malibu with beachfront view and just retire and just live a happy life after that. And all of that is gone now. Like, that sucks. And what really sucks is that they're not going to be able to rebuild in that same spot because the foundation is completely screwed because of water that was used and fire and everything like that. So, like,
Well, you know
they
about
can't
the
do anything like
conspiracy,
that.
right?
We
one of
asked-
the
About the
land.
Olympics. Yeah.
yeah,
And the land.
Yep.
yeah, and some parts of California were nice and like clean and stuff like that, and then you like go 2 blocks and it's like look like Seattle, you know. And it was just, I was like, man, but you know, they're gonna be spending a lot of money to get everything ready for the Olympics and everything like that. So, yeah, but yeah, so that was my California trip. I needed a good getaway, and you know, I was like, why not go to Disneyland, the happiest place on earth? Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed myself. And
Probably would have had more fun with me, though.
maybe not. I don't know. So, but
Are you a certified bounty hunter now?
no, I didn't, dude. Dude, I walked, man. I had a weight goal that I wanted to hit before this trip, and I was like 3 pounds shy of hitting that goal. I come back and I weigh myself like the next morning, and I lost like 7 pounds from that trip. Like, I hit my goal and some, and I was just like, hot damn. But I walked like 6 or 7 miles a day on that entire trip, and I was just like, okay, I get it. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean,
So no bounty hunter?
no.
Back to the original question.
I didn't even get one. I couldn't find the thing where you like get your bounty and then you go walking around Galaxy's Edge looking for it. I couldn't find the damn thing. I looked it on the map and I was just like, I'm right here, but I couldn't find it. So I was like, what?
secret handshake and slip someone some
No.
gold coin or something.
Nope, nothing. So I was like, damn it. But I did see the new projection show. I saw the new characters and stuff like that walking around. But they had that Season of the Force thing going on, like the day that I went is when it started. So like they were out of a lot of stuff. And there were tons of people walking around.
Yeah, another reason I won't go.
And I was just like, man. So I thought it was a really neat trip. It was a lot of fun. Would I go and visit there again? Yeah, maybe. Would I live there? Not on your life. Yeah, no. The cost of living is too much. Seeing $6 gas was outrageous. I was like, hell no. I'll just walk everywhere.
Why don't you take a bus for $4? Cheaper than a gallon of gas.
Right? So, but yeah, so it was a good trip. It was a nice getaway. I probably won't do it for another 5 years or so, but it was a good trip. So I had a good time. So, but And then you, anything interesting happened with you?
Not a
lately?
damn thing.
Not a damn thing.
Same old.
Same old, same old. So,
Sleep, work, go back home and sleep. Wake up, go back to work, go back to sleep.
see, that's what you need. You need a vacation to get away from that.
Yeah.
When was your last vacation?
Dude, the last time I flown on an airplane, see if you can guess. When was the last time I flown on an airplane? What year?
When did the Hindenburg crash?
Right? I haven't flown since 2010.
Really?
Yeah, really. I haven't been on an airplane. I don't even know what they look like anymore from the inside.
They're a lot smaller than they used to be.
Probably.
They're the same size, just more chairs.
yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if they, you know.
2 wings if you're lucky.
Does everybody have TVs now?
No.
Not on the ones I've been on.
Not on Southwest, no. So, and then in May, Southwest is going to start charging you for your seat, and they're going to drop it down, I think, to 1 free bag instead of 2.
Oh, I thought it was no free bags.
Oh, it might be no free
Yeah,
bags.
you have to pay for it.
And it's assigned seating instead of first come, first serve.
Yeah. So think of like American Airline, but like not as nice. So
I don't know. That's one of the reasons I always like Southwest is first come, first serve.
Well, at least it's not like Spirit.
yeah, no.
You
Spirit,
get thrown off a
Spirit.
flight.
Spirit Airlines is going to be the new Southwest Airlines.
Is it
Probably.
Spirit or
Yeah.
is it Spirit or JetBlue?
Or Frontier.
Even if you get a seat, they
Well, I
still
mean-
might throw you out of it.
Yeah.
And Spirit, man, this cabin depressurized and the oxygen mask comes in. You got to put a quarter in for the oxygen.
That's assuming if the pilot shows up to work that day and you don't have to fly the plane yourself.
Right?
Yeah. So, but
They're
yeah.
going to put vending machines in there for them instead of flight attendants.
Well, it's for all the doors that blew out of the Boeings. They're going to just put a vending machine in the hole.
There
Right?
you go. So, but luckily, the vending machines will take cards. That's what I heard. So I was like,
You just won't get
that'd
the card back.
Yeah, you won't get the card back. But it's like $7 for a soda,
Yeah.
and then like $8 for your bag of. Well, it's not even peanuts anymore. It's pretzels.
Yeah, because too many people are allergic.
Yeah, I remember when flying on planes, you get on Southwest, you get like the little bag of peanuts.
Yep.
That was awesome.
I still remember we could smoke on the damn planes.
Yeah. I still remember having the ashtray.
The little ashtrays and stuff.
Yep.
So I did the Walt Disney studio tour, and I actually got to see Walt Disney's office. When he passed, they went in and they archived everything that was in his office. They took pictures of where everything was and stuff. And I did the tour, and they redid his office and they put it back to the same way it was. 2 things. One, I didn't know Walt Disney had Wi-Fi in his office. That was pretty cool. I saw Wi-Fi routers like all throughout the building and stuff. And 2, this was back in I think he passed away in 1966 or 65, something like that. There were just in his office alone, there was 9 ashtrays.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was back in the day when you could smoke anywhere you wanted. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. There was 3 or 4 on his desk. There were 2 next to the sofa that was in his office. There was another one on the piano.
Well, it's like the
Hold on,
Simpsons episode.
About the smoking, real quick, anywhere. Okay. You watch all these movies and stuff about people smoking back in the day, like the 1940s or whatever else. You even see people smoking in hospitals, right?
Yep.
In movies. Where's the one place you never see them smoking?
Home?
Church.
Oh.
Have you ever seen a movie where someone's sitting in the pew just puffing away on a cigarette?
No, that's true. Yeah.
I mean,
can't
I've
think of a
seen
movie.
vampire movies where the person was smoking, but
Yeah,
They
but that's
weren't-
because he was a vampire and he was
they
in,
weren't,
in
they
on
weren't
holy
smoking.
ground.
But
something.
you never see anybody smoking in the church.
That's true. Yeah.
Isn't that weird? But yeah, you can you see them in schools, you see them in
Diners,
in diners,
theaters, buses,
yeah,
airplanes,
friggin'
everywhere.
ER and everything. Yeah, on airplanes with pilots, and
Yeah.
you know. But you
just-
never see
just
anybody in
That's
church.
a good point. That is a good point. Yeah, I'm gonna start watching the old black and white movies, seeing if I could see them smoking in churches now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
find
I'll
like
watch
a.
that.
Yeah, there's no ashtrays and pews and stuff.
Yeah,
Well, there's no armrest to put one in.
I remember my
Well, I
mom.
mean, I think doesn't the priest come by with the ashtray With the ashes in it.
Close, but no.
With the flammable Sensi.
Yeah. I remember my mom had an old station wagon, and the back of the seat had the little ashtray that would pop out and stuff. That was back in the day. That was early.
I remember
early
back in the
80s.
day where you used to choose your car, smoking or non-smoking,
Well, kind of like restaurants, you can choose smoking or non-smoking. So
Yeah, and they charge you an arm and a leg for the little ashtray and the little, the cigarette lighter.
Well, they used to hand out the books of matches.
do you remember?
collect the books of matches from the different places you went to?
Do you remember in the early '80s they had cigarette vending machines?
When I was in Germany back in the 90s, they used to have these little vending machines, and they were on the corner. Like on the corner, you just put 5 marks in it and get some Marlboros.
Yeah, I remember it even here into the early to mid-ish 90s.
Yeah, no one got carded from there. You just
Yeah.
put your money in the vending machine, pull the little knob, and then the pack of cigarettes would pop out.
That was back when they were on the honor system.
We go to like freeway lanes and, go play pool. And where the restrooms were in that hallway to get to the restrooms was a cigarette vending machine.
Yeah. Yeah, they did away with all that. I did see something really neat on one of the piers. It was a rotary phone, and not a lot of kids know what rotary phones are.
Oh, I saw one when I went to Dallas.
Yeah, that was crazy. I was like,
No,
whoa.
Lubbock. It was Lubbock.
Yeah.
I've seen a payphone still. That was crazy. I have a story about a payphone though.
What's your story about
They
it?
charge by the minute.
I was living in New York, and I came back home to visit for Christmas. And then when I was flying back, I had to stop in Atlanta, but Atlanta had a big ice storm. So we were actually on the plane getting ready to go, and then you can hear the captain comes over. Oh, I'm sorry, folks. They closed the whole airport down. We're going to have to deplane and make arrangements for the next flights. No flights are going out tonight. So go to the nearest agent in the airport and, rebook a flight for tomorrow. So we got off the plane, and there was a long line of people trying to change their flights. And I mean, it was going to be hours before they changed my flight, right? So I'm standing there, I'm just looking around, and, it was before cell phones and had a little boarding pass. So I was looking through the boarding pass, just something to read, So I was looking at the boarding pass, and then on the bottom it said in little tiny words, for reservations, please call 1-800 something. And I just kind of turned my head, and there was a row of payphones. And I was like, and they were all empty. And then I looked forward, and there's a bunch of people. I looked behind me, there's a bunch of people. So I asked this lady, I was like, hey, I got to call my mom. Can you, hold my spot? She's like, oh, no problem. So I went over there, called her. I was like, hey, I'm stuck in Atlanta. Can I make reservations for a flight out tomorrow, right? She goes, oh, yeah. And I was like, so she changed my reservations and everything. And I was like, oh, I'm all set. And so I hung up, and then I walked up to the lady, and I was like, hey, call this number on your ticket over there in the payphone, and you don't have to stand in line. I said, I already got my flight changed, right? And she's like, oh, thank you. And she went over there, and I was like, I'll hold your spot if you don't believe me, So she went over there, and then she came back, and she's like, she, mouthed me, thank you. And she walked off with her kids, and everything else. So later on, the same day, they canceled the flights. All the rest of the day, they canceled the flights. So they weren't going to fly out until the next day. So I was stuck there then, and I was tired because I've already slept in, one of the terminals, and that was very fun.
Yeah.
So anyways, I guess this lady saw me, the lady with the kids, she saw me, and she's like, hey, we're getting a hotel. Do you want to go over there? They have room for you guys. But she goes, you can ride with us. I was like, all right. So we got in, I don't know, her and her family and some other people got, some van from the hotel, picked us up, went in there, and I rented a hotel room and went up there and crashed so hard. And if I wouldn't have let that lady book reservations on things, she wouldn't even known. I would have been stuck sleeping at the airport again.
Wow.
So
Nice.
So you did a good deed and you got a reward for it.
Yeah.
That's nice.
off a payphone.
That's how you pay it forward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. So if you're out there, lady, and you remember me with the payphone, that's me. You're welcome.
Yeah.
And
So you
There's a little shout out there
So
for
you
you.
used a payphone, and some lady took you to a hotel. Long story short,
Okay.
oh, you
When
didn't
you
miss
say
the
it
whole
out-
context. You know?
When you
All right,
say it
C-
out loud like that.
all right, CNN, you missed the whole middle part.
When you say it out loud like that, yeah, it kind of sounds a little.
I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't stay in the same hotel room with her. I got my own room.
I never said you didn't.
So I actually never said I did. So we're both right.
That's funny. So,
Are we done?
I think so. I think that was a little fill in on everything that's happened this week, and yeah. So, wish Rusty was here with us, but unfortunately, he's out doing
Hopefully, he'll get to
cup
join
things.
Shenanigans.
remotely and
Yeah,
Yeah, he's doing shenanigans, dealing with Karens and stuff like that.
yeah. There's a lot of events that happened this last week and everything like that. So if you haven't watched it already, watch our other podcast called Ammo Cans and Crayons. That stuff will be in there.
That's our news and stuff. Like
Yeah, that's
current events.
that's current events and some stuff going on in the White
world.
House and the world, and little
Local.
bits here and there, local events and stuff like that. So yeah, so if you haven't seen that one, the link is down below. Stop by, check that out.
Make sure you guys like and subscribe, even the little shorts, and help us get through YouTube's and
Algorithm.
algorithms.
Yeah.
I'll say analog, but algorithms and
You're going
yes.
way back talking about
Yeah,
cigarette
you guys
vending
talking about the
machines,
'80s and stuff like that. man.
rotary payphones, analog.
Hey man, I had a big wheel when I was a kid.
I had a big wheel, and that was the first time I got brought home by the cops. I mean, that was the only time I got brought home by the cops.
No, I had a Cops big wheel from the movie. No, not Cops. Chips.
And I
I was always Punch. No, I wasn't Punch. I was what was the white dude's name?
Harold. No,
I think it was Chris or something. Mark.
yeah, no. I had a big wheel when I was a kid, and I actually rode it around the block, crossed a busy intersection, and went to a 7-Eleven. I think it was a 7-Eleven at the time. And you know how they had arcades back then, and they had like the little demo and everything like that. I didn't have any quarters because I was like 3, and I was sitting there and I thought I was playing the game, but it was just a demo. And a cop walks in to get something to drink, and he looks around the store and he's like, "Hey kid, where are your parents?" And I was like, "At home." "How old are you?" 3. "Where do you live?" And I told him I lived like right around the block and stuff. And yeah, he took my big wheel and put it in the back seat and put me in the front seat, took me home, and I hid under my bed until my dad got home. And I got an ass whooping back then, dude. Yeah, I was in fear of my life. I was like, oh my God, my dad is gonna kill me because I left the front yard without permission. So, but I was home before the street light
I was
came
gonna
on.
say, were you home before the lights came
Yeah,
on?
but that was back in the day. You didn't have to worry about it. You just take off with your friends on your bike and everything else, And just like that with that movie E.T. They all took off on their bikes, whatever. The parents were just like, "Okay, cool,"
Yeah.
Well, just like E.T., aliens still take you away.
Yeah, but
they're just the
nowadays,
illegal kind.
different type of aliens will take you away.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
They're still brown.
Well, guys, that's it for this episode. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that stuff that, to help get the shows out there. And until next time, we're out.
Make sure you comment down below too.
Yes,
Okay.
comment down below.
So, is it holes or 2 openings in a straw?
Yes. And also, if you wipe up laundry soap off the floor, is the soap dirty or is the floor clean?
Yeah.
So
Let us know your thoughts.
let us know your thoughts. Remember, hit the like, subscribe, And until next time, we're out.
We were built to thrive, yeah.